The man that's 22-0 in his career, no losses, 12 KOs. He's ranked number 5 in the WBO, number 9 in the WBC, the junior lightweight division. His nickname is Savage. That's Andres Cortes. Andres, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Yeah, what's up? What's up? Thank you as well.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to get right into the very first thing. We'll touch back up on this in the end, but you got a fight locked in now. May 10th, you're going to be fighting. Take us to your first initial reaction right now. What's it feel like to finally get a fight locked in again?
It feels great. I knew the fight was gonna be coming up, so I've been in the gym, staying ready, just waiting for that call.
Absolutely, man. Well, I said about in the very beginning that your nickname is Savage. I want to know the backstory behind that. How did that become the nickname that you got?
I don't know. I just kind of grew up with that name, and I think like just growing up, it was my Xbox gamer tag for a little bit.
Okay.
So just growing up, yeah.
Absolutely, man. Well, also your boxing career. I know you're from Las Vegas, and I know you had a great amateur career as well. But when for you did you start really falling in love with boxing? When did this become the sport that you wanted to pursue?
I mean, I've always loved boxing since very young age. Since
Okay.
I first started it. Just watching boxing, being a part of it. Now both sides, seeing the promotional side, the business side makes me appreciate it even more.
And when you were growing up, was that always a sport that you said, okay, I want this to be my career path? Or when did you just kind of switch the mindset and say, you know what, this is now going to be my career where I believe I can go make this be my profession. This can be what I make my livelihood off of.
I always knew and I always believed. I mean, I was always, talented
Sure.
in pretty much a lot of sports. So I always knew I could do this.
All right. So you just said you've always done a lot of sports. What are some of the other sports you did growing up?
I mean, like I played a lot of sports, but I mean, just combat sports in general. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what was the separating point of boxing? Why did you fall in love with that one opposed to everything else?
I guess it was just the easiest.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Now you have a post from a long, long time ago, and it was with you and Floyd Mayweather. Obviously, one of the all-time greats, maybe even the greatest of all time. How'd you get that relationship? Where'd those pictures come from?
I was originally signed with Mayweather back
Hmm.
in, I want to say, 2016, 16.
Okay.
So, I mean, I always trained in the Mayweather gym. So I've been there. I've been around there. I grew up with a lot of the fighters that were with Mayweather Promotions.
Okay.
So I already kind of had that connection and just kind of followed their route.
That had to be a big influence on your life to have him when you're younger, still developing as a fighter, to have one of the greatest of all time in your kind of corner, learning from him. What would you say is the biggest thing you learned from him?
I mean, hard work, of course.
Sure.
You can have fun and do all those things, but when it's time to work, you got to work.
Yeah. All right, so then you go into your pro career, and you've obviously had a great career to this point. 22-0, you've yet to lose. You have no losses on your record at this point. Have you always expected this to be as good of a career you've had to this point? So was this what you always expected to be in the position you're at today?
Absolutely, don't see anyone beating me.
All right. Now, when you talk about this upcoming fight, like I said, it just got announced May 10th. You're gonna be fighting. This comes off of now a 10-month, basically 10-month break off for yourself. And I know that obviously wasn't a plan. I want to go into that a little bit for yourself because you were in a position where you potentially could have had what ended up becoming a title eliminator fight. And obviously you missed that. I know this probably was not the situation you want to deal with. I know that probably wasn't easy for yourself. How have the past 10 months been for you?
I mean, I've been just focusing on myself. Nothing has really kept me out of the sport. It's just there's no one to fight. At
Fair
this
enough.
point, I might as well just fight myself.
Fair enough. So I know that you had the fight, which was going to be against Suarez back in September, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken. And you had, if I'm not mistaken, it was an injury in that situation. Are
yeah.
you 100% healed up from what that was?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was just the injury, and I just had to take some time off. But I am 100% from that.
So when would you say you reached 100%?
I had to take about like a month or two off of
Okay.
just resting and you know slowly getting back.
And so now you get to this position where you're going to be fighting on May 10th, just about almost about what? Exactly about 1 month from now. I know that has to feel good to get in the ring again, get your feet wet, get back in that ring. What are you most excited about to be able to make your return now?
I mean, I'm just most excited about just getting in there and whooping ass, man.
All right, so do you know anything about your opponent at this point in time? Salvador Jimenez, he's obviously a solid fighter on his record and all, but have you got to see much of his film? Have you broke down much of him, and what's your thoughts on him so far?
He's tough. He comes to fight. I know
Yeah.
he's coming from far away, so he's definitely coming to win. He's never been stopped. He only has one loss, so I know he's hungry. But I got to show that there's just levels to this.
When you talk about that fight, do you have any predictions yet at this point in time for how the fight's going to go?
I think first round knockout.
Fair enough, man. And if you get that first round knockout or even a dominant win, let's just be honest. We look at the record right now. We look at your standing. We know with your promotional group, the main event that night is going to be a world championship fight. Emanuel Navarrete, Charlie Suarez, the guy you could have fought beforehand, and you're with a top ranked connection. I mean, I just look at that right there. It seems like a perfect opportunity where if you win that fight on May 10th, that you have the opportunity to possibly go for a world championship fight this year. Is that something that you are identifying that you see as a possibility?
Absolutely. That's one of the main reasons why I'm on that card. You
Okay.
know, so I'm ready right after. As soon as they're done with their fight, I'm ready to get it going.
Is that already the discussion? I know obviously you're the guy with the connection with top rank and everybody. Has that been discussed between you guys that if the right performance goes down by yourself, that could be in line for you?
It hasn't, but you know what? I'm working the WBO route. I really want to win a WBO title. So, I mean, that's the championship fight. So, I'm
Yeah.
really aiming and going towards that route.
If you were to make a prediction at that fight right now and you were to get that world championship fight, who do you think you'd be matching up with? Do you think it's going to be Navarrete winning that fight or Suarez?
I mean, I think the whole world knows that. I mean, even you know that. I think everyone knows what's gonna happen. It's just, yeah, I think that fight, me versus Navarrete, is gonna be a great fight.
Now, obviously, like I said, that is the fight I think everyone expects is going to happen. That would be a massive fight to see between you two. When do you think that could possibly occur? I know this is looking, you probably are just focusing on this fight for now, but do you think that's going to be something we see fall time of this year, maybe summertime, winter time? Like, when do you see it possibly that fight could come to fruition?
I really have no clue. I'm ready as soon as we can go, but
Okay.
it takes two to tango. So I'm not sure when the other side will be ready.
If I were to ask you to have a blueprint for the next 12 months for yourself, the goals you want to accomplish, how many fights you want to do, where you want to be at 12 months from now, what would you say everything would entail in that package group for the next 12 months for yourself?
I mean, I definitely want to get through this fight, and then get another fight lined up, maybe summertime for a world title, and hopefully at the end of the year defend it.
Absolutely. So you're saying we could possibly see you 3 times this year and become world champion by the end of this year?
Oh, absolutely. I love to be in the ring. I love to fight, so I don't really like to take time off. So
Absolutely, man. Well, a couple of things I want to get into about you is let's go to your last fight you did fight. Obviously, Abraham Nova. It was a tough fight. Both of you guys went
yeah,
back and forth, and obviously, there's a lot of stuff I want to get into in regards to that fight. But one of which is there's a little bit of an interesting ending to the fight when you guys had the press conference or you guys were talking in the ring. Both of you guys accused each other of being dirty. Obviously, it was a very very tough fight when you guys were in that ring. But can you just take us through that side? Obviously, you guys both accusing each other of being dirty. Obviously,
yeah.
you could say both sides were accurate in that statement however you want to look at it. But just what's your thoughts on that fight now? If you've broken down, I know you've watched the fight already. Take us through that.
I mean, I wasn't at 100%. So
Okay.
I mean, there was really no excuses for me. Um, I came in there, did what I had to do. I got the victory. So I mean, that's long gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when you talk about what you've learned from that fight, obviously there's some things I'm sure you gained from it, some things you learned. What would you say is the biggest thing you took away from that fight that you've now implemented your great game and you've grown in?
Not too much. Like I said, I wasn't 100%.
Fair
I
enough.
know what was wrong with me, so I wasn't at 100. If I was at 100, that fight wouldn't have gone very long. That's just me
Mm.
being honest. And if people want to judge me off that fight, go ahead.
Yeah, fair enough. So when you look at just your ability now you've had 10 months off, you've recovered, you say you're at 100%.
Yeah.
What type of Andres Cortes can we expect in that ring when you return May 10th?
Very explosive. That's all I'm gonna say. Shots are a little bit different now, and they're just coming a lot more sharp, explosive. So that's really what I've been working on. Um, just looking for those knockouts.
Would you say that this is the best you've felt in your career to this point?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think you guys will see that May 10th.
Absolutely, man. Well, I just got a couple more things I want to get into. One of those, what I kind of touched up in the beginning with you, is that you growing up in Las Vegas, when you just get to go out there and you get to fight and represent Las Vegas, what does that mean to you? Because that's the fighting capital of the world. Does that mean anything else being able to fight from that state?
Yeah, I feel real good here. I feel very comfortable. I see my people here, so I know the city's got my back, and I just feel real good here.
Absolutely, man. Well, there's one final thing I was like discussing with everybody before I let you guys go, and that's just talking about your legacy. You've got a long, long career ahead of yourself. You're still a very, very young fighter. When that day does come, you decide to step away from the ring and step away from boxing. What is it that you want to accomplish and be remembered for?
I want to be, one of the best champions out of Las Vegas.
Okay.
You know, uh, Definitely multi-world champion, and like I said, just be one of the greatest fighters out of Las Vegas.
You just said multi-champion, all these different things on your list. When you talk about that, and I just have to ask you this question now. Obviously, you're already fighting at 130. You're still young. Could we see you try to go for? I know it's obviously going down the road quite a bit, but see you move up weight classes, move to 135, go for that conference, or do you feel like 130 is going to be your weight that you want to dominate for the remainder of your career?
Absolutely not. I think I don't got too much longer at 130, so I'm probably gonna make that jump to 140.
Okay, so you're gonna go all the way up to 140, then you're gonna skip to 135. You plan on?
Absolutely.
Fair enough. So when can we possibly see? I've got to ask you then. I mean, if you said it's that close, you possibly get the Navarrete fight this year, become world champion. Could we see 2026 possibly even that soon, moving up to 140, or when could that possibly happen?
Yeah. I got to take care of business at 130 first. Then
Sure.
I'm probably gonna move up to 140.
So what's up with skipping 135 then? Is that just something you feel like 140 is going to be your long-term one? You just want to get going there? Why do you want to make that jump from 130 to 140?
Because I feel like it's right.
Okay.
In UFC, they do from 35, 45, 45, 55.
Yep.
So why not boxing?
It does have to ask you then. I mean, when you look at that aspect about boxing, I know some people do say there's too many weight classes, too much of that going on. Would you say that's a accurate statement? Like, do you think there's too many weight classes, or are you fine with it being almost every 5 pounds at the lower divisions?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I think however the fighter feels most comfortable, if they can drop those extra 5 pounds, go ahead.
Okay.
Um, it's always on how the fighters feel.
So then, would 140 is that the one that you plan on? Once you get to that point, that's where you want to stick at for the remainder of your career, then pretty much.
Nah, I'll probably move up after that.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, since you have 140 on your mind, then is there a certain guy that you want to fight? Is there a guy that you have on your mind that you want to fight one day?
As of right now, nah, I haven't thought that far, but I mean, those are just my goals.
Gotcha, absolutely, man. So, is there one guy? I know you said Navarrete, but if you could make any
Yeah.
dream fight at 130, if you become champion, and that could be the answer is Navarrete or unifying with somebody else at 130, is there one guy that you really want to fight at 130?
I mean, any of the champions. I don't. I mean, is there another undefeated champion right now?
Undefeated, I'm trying to think because 130 champions, you have a Shaki Foster, who he does have a loss because of the Coincido one. You obviously have Navarrete. Um, Lamont Roach is obviously in the balance between, I don't know if he's going to stay at 130, 135. And then you have, I think the other one's vacant right now, if I'm not mistaken. So, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, like, there you go. I'm one of the only undefeated fighters, top 10. So, I mean, I think it's gonna stay that way.
How important is it to you to have that O? I know that's a big thing in boxing. When you see that O by your record, what does that mean to you, and how important is that to you?
I mean, realistically, it does not mean too much. I'm willing to fight the best, and I know at the highest level, it's any man's night.
Agreed.
So I do understand that. So I'm trying to make the best fight possible. It's just very hard to get those fights.
Agree with that. And that is an interesting mentality. I actually want to ask about that mentality of yourself because I think that we've gotten boxing such a stigma of, hey, don't lose the L, go fight guys, don't make the big fights. But then we see things like we've seen the past couple months where we see guys like Bivol and Beterbiev. Nobody else views them any lower because of the fact they both have a loss on the record now. Likewise with Fury and Usyk and those type of guys. Do you feel like that's the mentality that needs to be more in place? And going back to the UFC thing, obviously they have a lot of losses too. Is that something that you feel like is a safer place to be at for boxing in terms of saying, hey, as long as you're finding the great guys, if you have a good performance, you take an L, it is what it is, but kind of keep moving forward, not letting the O be such a massive factor in people's opinions?
Absolutely. I mean, the best fight the feds, and like I said, in any given night, the best. Anything can happen. So I do think that the best should fight the best, and win, lose, or draw, they can run it back, rematch,
Yeah.
trilogy. So I mean, you're gonna be bound to lose.
If you become champion, as you said, you want to fight the best of the best. How much pressure is that putting yourself? Not even pressure, but how much of a motivation, I should say, would you have of wanting to make big fights, whether that be at 130 for the time being, 140? How big is it to you to make the fights against other champions, unifications, undisputed, you name it? How big of an importance is that in your life?
I mean, I think that's why everyone wants to be, in boxing is to be the best. So to be the best, you got to show you're the best. So I mean, I won't feel comfortable with my career until I've fought the best.
Okay. Absolutely, man. Well, Andres, I appreciate you taking time to come on today, man. I can't wait to see what God's got in store for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on your return on May 10th.
Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
God bless.